Attack on Titan chapter 130. Finally, Eren talks about Mikasa's love, plus the whole baby daddy topic. So what's up guys, Foxen here. Attack on Titan 130. Humanity's Breaking Dawn. Wasn't that a Twilight movie? Seriously, chapter 130 has definitely been one of the most important chapters since the whole Titan Realm stuff. Best Attack on Titan chapter this year by far. So far. So go ahead and colossal smash that like, just like how Eren is doing, ring the bell, and let's dive deep into this. Briefly looking at the last chapter, you saw that Annie's top priority was of course her father getting back to him. Fast forward to this chapter, shocker. Sorry blonde girl Annie, your papa and friends are gonna get a huge taste of Eren long before you guys are able to get there. That was such a devastating look for her. You could feel her pain. Someone get this girl some pie. And Annie wasn't alone, even Reiner. And yes, I do have to point out how these guys do have a massive kill count on their life, but still. I was feeling a tad bit bad for Reiner. You got him thinking back to his not so awesome family. And I'm sure you could relate, despite family not always being the best of things, there's ups and downs. They still are your loved ones. Although do notice, screw Reiner's papa, that guy's not getting a panel. Either way, this really just means that Annie doesn't have a reason to be part of this makeshift Attack on Titan Avengers team. You really can't blame her for wanting out. Right now, Eren is leading the millions of Colossal Titans. First stop on this world destruction tour is Marley, which really is why the saving Marley option is totally out of the realm of possibility now. Although right here notice, Hange not only mentioned Marley, but included Eldia in that too. In other words, what they have. Really makes you wonder what state Paradise Island will be left at in the end. So going back to the whole super fun Eren question, can you kill Eren? And you could be sure Gabby's in the background like, just hand me a sniper dude. But seriously, I freaking loved Annie letting it out here. Annie is completely done with it, she's done with everything. No more fighting Mikasa, not the Survey Corps, not the Stallion, Armin, Connie. She may still kick Reiner some. In the last few months, I know some of you really wanted to see Annie vs Mikasa round 2, or would that be round 3? But even before the whole Annie crystal explosion, I really doubted that was going to make a comeback. On top of this, not only do you have Annie exposing herself right here, she is the one that again has to call out Mikasa and her friends. These guys are not ready to slice up Eren Yeager, especially not Mikasa or Armin, really going back to the talk no jutsu plan option. Next up, that quick bird overview shot. I almost feel like Isayama's overusing these. There were quite a few of these also in the Before the Fall manga, although a great excuse to get a high level overview and transition. Next up, flashback time. Oh yeah, finally getting some sort of Eren point of view months later. Kicking this off, you have the first episode or the first Attack on Titan chapter shot. Eren sleeping, then suddenly waking up. This time from a different angle. And sure, I'm going to point out I may be overthinking this, but I did always find it a little weird how Eren was just randomly asleep after their little stake gathering adventure. Combine this with Mikasa just watching and waiting. I guess she was super lovey-lovey even as a kid, Mikasa. Then the pigs. Who let the pigs out? I don't think you actually needed to see the literal piggies, but here you go. There has been some speculation about whether that nasty previous Eldian king was actually referring to not pigs but slaves when he mentioned the bacon machines being let out. Either or, you got oinkers. Next up, young Grisha. For this, I'm gonna need your help. Honestly, I'm not sure right away from looking at this without going panel by panel. Could it be when Grisha was looking at Zeke's mother? Was he looking at Eren Kruger? Could Grisha have been making Eren? Then Eren smooching on the queen. Of course, this being the final Attack on Titan Season 3 episode. This of course being the strong catalyst for Eren receiving that Titan airdrop from future Eren. This was really fun though, a flashback within a flashback time, really pulling a Boruto's dad. Right here you got to see Yelena's little chat with Eren. And I was just loving this, really getting more pieces to this Titan puzzle. For this chapter, some good sized chunks. Quite a while ago you found out about Eren secretly meeting up with Yelena. Yelena of course playing the messenger girl for her beloved Beast Titan. Here, she claims that they would be able to save Eldia and the world via their now cancelled euthanasia plan. Let's go ahead and spike the wine with Zeke's delicious Titan juices. So really quickly, a confirmation here that Eren knew about the contaminated wine. Specifically, this was going to be given to the top Paradise Island people. In other words, Eren was very much aware of these guys possibly either getting turned into Titan mode or dying after. If anyone is confused or forgot some of this, it wasn't exactly a huge thing, but there was some doubt as to whether Eren knew the exact details regarding Zeke's wine. Whether he knew all along or found out after the fact. especially with that scene of Floch trying to keep quiet. And yes, Floch, talking about this fella. Turns out that this Eren ass-kisser was present during their midnight fling. This now brings up the question of how deeply Eren actually trusts Floch. I mean, you have Eren putting that much faith into him, actually telling him at least part, if not all of his master plan. That all of this was going to just be pretend. We're gonna help out Zeke, only to get to the Titan realm to save the poor, overworked Ymir. Interesting how Floch had nothing to say to this. Next up, surprise, surprise! I practically forgot about Queen Historia at this point. Finally, this was a long time coming, the Historia and Eren chat. Really confirming a huge thing. A few things in fact. First off, the military police higher-ups were planning on making Historia into their Titan Queen as soon as Monkey Boy got escorted over. Something from Eren that you should notice was him revealing that he was able to use the Founding Titan powers to manipulate memories at this stage, which does make you wonder how many times he's actually used this ability. He seems to be pretty confident here. Has he used it in the past? You saw how Floch was quietly listening to his Yeager sensei. Was there any Founding Titan magic at work? On the flip side, I do have to admit how it would be going against Eren's philosophy about hating those not acting by their own will. Anyway, going back to the Eren connection to Historia, which was formed in Attack on Titan Season 3, the Uprising arc. Recall that Historia had the option to eat Eren and take back the Founding Titan, thereby continuing the cycle and culture/custom of the royal blood family. Although last minute she rebelled against her cursed father. Naturally, Eren wouldn't be a fan of Historia, the girl that chose him, going back to that specific practice she rejected initially. Next flashback, Zeke and Hobo Eren at Marley, this time specifically focusing on the Ackerman stuff. Going back to that now infamous family talk with Papa Yeager at the dinner table, the guy really ripped Mikasa a new one here. At the time, that was definitely the most info revealed regarding the mysterious super soldiers known as the Ackerman. Eren surely got some of that info from his beloved Oni-chan. But since then, how much of that info was true has been questionable. After all, even if you assume it's 100% unique, if he got it from Zeke, can you fully trust the guy? Eren's source could have been any of the various Founding Titan shifters, or even the Attack Titan whispering into his mind. Circling this back to the Mikasa topic, why is she so obsessed with Eren? Why does she love Eren? Was it really only due to her Ackerman genes? Was it Mikasa being a slave to her biology, like Eren had claimed? The most juicy telling part really comes from that love remark from Zeke, really forcing Eren to confront this. It was actually this Yeager bro that was suggesting Mikasa's motivation towards rescuing and protecting Eren was not due to her Ackerman ties alone. It's simply that Mikasa loves him. Oh yeah, Eren and Mikasa sitting in the Titan tree, Killing. It was actually almost perfect how this circled back to Historia. Yeah, Eren, you had the hot Asian sister plus the blonde queen wanting your Titan. And the winner is... So how many years ago did Historia being pregnant get revealed to us? That was back in Attack on Titan chapter 107. Fast forward like 2 years later, it's finally been confirmed. It also actually wasn't Eren's idea, but Historia was the one that brought this idea to Eren. How about you and I make a little Eren Jr.? Oh yes, I know a good chunk of Attack on Titan fans will not be happy post this chapter. Any of you hoping for an Eren and Mikasa finale? Sorry. That's totally been slashed down in this chapter. Eren is the father. Recall that panel with the stallion and what looked like Mikasa? Better start shipping this to now, if you weren't already. So go ahead, let me know down below, how do you feel about this huge development reveal? I don't really think it's a twist. For a while now, I've seen some of the Attack on Titan fans be super vocal about wanting the cliché matchup to happen, going even as far as saying that if it didn't happen, the Attack on Titan would be dead to you. So let's see if that's the case. The Titan baseball is in your court now. Even more interesting is this parallel that I was expecting to Grisha and Dinah, a Yeager bonding with a royal blood member. Years later, just like Papa Grisha, Eren scored big time. I guess technically if Eren survived this, he would be the new Eldian king. Which, to be honest, you know me, if you've been watching a while, I highly was rooting for Eren and Mikasa's sexy time to happen. But really, post time skip, whether that happened or not, really seemed far less important to me. As I mentioned in my past finale videos, I was already mostly sure that this Historia and Eren bond had happened. Which means, sorry Mikasa, sorry Reiner, sorry nameless farmer boy. It looks like the winner out of all this equation may be Jean's lucky day. Unless Attack on Titan goes the harem round. Does anyone want to see Eren with Mikasa, Queen Historia, best girl Armin? And let me just toss Levi and Hange in there too. Anyway, back to the serious talk. One of the key things you should notice is that it almost sounds like Eren wanted to spare Mikasa and the rest of his buddies from his loss, along with the ultimate doomsday plan, which really goes back to that high-level idea of Eren taking the burden for his world-devastating action. The second key thing here is Historia almost tagging along for the ride. Even though Eren's priority was to spare his buddies, wanting them to continue their lives after he died, perhaps due to their bond, Historia will help Eren shoulder some of that hardship. Even looking past their bond, it makes sense anyway since Historia is the current queen. Next up, that picture of the pre-Beast Titan fight. Back in the time when Erwin and Potato Girl Sasha were still alive then. Back at the time that Levi could still punch you with the full fist. Next up, back in present day, recall the world gathering their military might at Marley? Looks like all these guys were prepared for the Colossal Titan Army closing in. But oh my god, it looks like the Colossal Titans are here, or should I say Colossal Torpedoes. Seeing this panel shot, I had the biggest smile on my face. Yes, it turns out they didn't have to walk under the water. Eren just commanded all of these guys to transform into Titan jaws. I mean, even looking at this overview panel, which is both funny looking and super frightening at the same time. Forget about jaws, this Colossal Titan is mimicking a freaking whale. Such a tiny head too. And holy crap, this panel takes the cake. The Colossal Titan Army has arrived at Marley. This literally looks like facing death head on. Did someone say Ragnarok? Recall all those years and years of being tormented by some giant naked guys? That's right, payback is a bitch. Eren is simply returning the favor with interest. And come on, no one right here is going to be surprised at Marley and the World Army being completely useless and ineffective. So yes, the Colossal Titans are at Marley. But do notice, I have to bring up that estimation from the previous chapter. Hange said that they were moving faster than a horse, but if these guys are swimming, that should be way faster. Did Hange take that into account? Because if she didn't, it feels like they got over to Marley much faster. Recall Hange and friends needing half a day? That was after getting to the shore. It looks like these guys got far less time than they realized. Anyway, getting to the cherry on top. Finally, the Godzilla Dino Titan has been shown. Wait. Dino dinosaur. I don't think anyone expected this. Eren's Titan is really more like parts of what could be a dino-like skeleton in some areas. How the hell is this Titan Eren even moving? Is it just using those bones it's balancing on to move forward? So yeah, if you were expecting a Godzilla Titan, sorry. It looks more like something straight out of hell or the Shinigami realm, which is very appropriate. Actually, this whole scene looks very similar to that one Attack on Titan cover. You know, the one with Mikasa in the front. Looks like Eren wasn't the only one receiving future memories. And that heron head drooping down actually reminds me of that chick from The Ring. For the actual face of Eren's new Titan, it looks like the face could be similar to the Jaws Titan, so potentially hard plating? If not, the whole thing could just be bone. The bottom chin now is looking very Colossal Titan looking. And then, don't forget those super long elf ears. That's right, this is Eren's final Titan form. And you could quote me later, I think this is gonna change at least one more time. Doesn't even matter at this point, the whole Titan parade is officially at Marley. I don't know how big Marley is, which they should be a good size. A good chunk, if not all of it, should be destroyed before the Survey Corps plus warriors roll out. That's right, 5 Attack on Titan chapters left. Are you ready? How juicy was this chapter? Is anyone still on Team Yeager? Anyone on Team Survey Corps Warrior Avengers? Will Eren die off Code Geass style? And probably the biggest thing, although it shouldn't be, Historia and Eren being official. How do you feel about it? I'm betting there's gonna be some super salty fans post chapter 130. So go ahead and post your thoughts on this and anything else down below. I will be reading. Go ahead and watch my final Tower of God video, plus my new SAO trailer breakdown. Subscribe for more anime videos, juicy Attack on Titan video next week, and I'll see you guys later.